Hey, welcome to Chaparral Motorsports. I'm Kyle Bradshaw, and today we're going to be taking this 1190 Adventure R out into the real world and putting these Mitas E-10 Dakar tires to the test. Now, in our last episode, we had the Mitas E-07 Pluses out, and they gave us a good run for our money. It's a super long-lasting tire. We're talking 10, 12,000 miles. That does great in the dirt and does great on pavement. It really is a 50-50 compromise tire. What we're looking at today is the E-10 Dakar, which is going to be 60% off-road and only 40% on-road. This is going to be a much more aggressive tire when we get down there in the sand wash and up into the mountains. Now, the real question today is going to be whether this tire is going to be as good on the pavement as we've seen from some of the other 50-50 tires in this segment. This E-10 Dakar has a much larger block spacing than most of the other tires in the 50-50 segment. This is looking very much like a kind of a cross between a TKC 80 and maybe the Kenda big block tire. It's got some really neat features and benefits built into the block pattern itself that supposedly gives it amazing off-road traction. Now, taking a look at the actual block pattern of this tire, it's a very, very aggressive tread pattern. We have nice, large square blocks with a huge void. That's gonna give us a great bite and then dig, bite and then dig. Looking at this tread pattern, I'm gonna predict that this thing's gonna just rocket ship us forward when we get out there in the sand wash and onto the gravel and dirt roads. The thing that I'm noticing here with this tread pattern is the fact that we have alternating lugs here in the center, and then every alternating lug here towards more the side of the tire is gonna be split. That's gonna allow this actual lug to, on the surface, function as two lugs, so you have lots of stability when you're going into a corner. Now, one thing you're gonna notice is this tire is flatter, if you will, than the E-07 Plus that we just had on here. The E-07 Plus had more rounded corners, so it was sharper, and that gave us a little bit of step out in corners. I'm curious to see if this more flat profile that's gonna allow more rubber to actually be on the ground at all times is actually gonna perform better on the pavement. Yet to be determined. Another thing you can see here are these side lugs here are tapered. That's gonna help us get extra bite here on the sidewall. Now, just like all the other tires we've run in this segment, we're gonna run these things at 30 PSI front and rear. That's gonna give us a great on-road and off-road feel of how these tires are gonna perform. Again, this here is a very aggressive tire from Mitas. We're looking at 60% off-road, 40% on-road. I'm really curious to see how these things are going to do. I have not yet had a chance to run them on any of my adventure bikes. So without further ado, let's mount up and get rolling. All right, we're geared up and we're heading out for another day of tire testing. Nice hookup on these things. So as with all these tire tests, we're running ABS off, traction control off, and our tire pressure is set to 30 PSI cold. The reason that we do that is so that every tire has the same or equal chance to perform in exactly the same type of setup or scenario. Now, the first thing we need to do is get these tires broke in. Yes, they do have amazing traction there in the parking lot. When we get up there into the canyon and start carving some corners, we want to make sure that we get these things properly scrubbed in so we don't have any mishaps. First thing I'm going to do is jump off over here into the rocks and get a preliminary scrub in. Whoa, yeah, buddy. It's good, good. I like it. I like it a lot. Now, the other thing I want to take a look at right now is the actual rain grooves in these California freeways. A lot of the knobby tires that we run have a big, big problem here on this type of terrain. They just want to undulate the bar back and forth. And that usually happens right around 55 to 75 miles an hour. Right now, cruising at 70, we're not getting any wiggle up here in the front end. All right, now it's time to jump off into the sand wash and to have a little sandy fun. All right, down to the wash, we're gonna get a first takeoff here on this gravelly road. Really good pickup there on that first takeoff. The back end did want to drift a little bit sideways. I mean, not uncommon, but I wasn't expecting that with the very square blocks that we have there in the rear. And the amount of speed that we're getting just twisting the throttle is pretty impressive. I'm digging it. Alright, so down into the wash we go on the Mitas E-10 Dakar tires. Whoa! I'm curious where that sidewind action's coming from. Definitely not as bad as the E07 Plus, but it's definitely still there. Sidewinding aside, we're getting great forward momentum on this tire. Okay, here we go. Do a little 180 and shoot under the bridge is the idea here. How good that go is, man. I'm impressed with the forward momentum of these tires, for sure. Dialed in. Now from down there, this looked like a fun little route to kind of take on the way down to test overall downhill power stopping. Man, these feel good. There's a lot of tires that I would not have done that on, for sure. Here comes my rocks. Whoa, there's some rocks I don't want to hit. The big fat ones. Alright. Tires feel pretty good, actually. Alright, now this is a hill, very deceiving. So it's rocks on top, but it's super powdery underneath. There's been several tires that I thought would just blast up there, but I've gotten sunk in the ground. So let's give this guy a shot. Dude, cake. That was awesome, actually. And stopping half the distance of what some of the other tires are stopped at. I love this little road. It's called Old Waterman Canyon. We've had flooded creeks, we've had tar snakes, we've had landslides. There's been all kinds of things that we've run across on this road, and it kind of is indicative of a traditional backcountry road here in the USA that really doesn't get traveled very often. Let's get a little back end. But it's super controlled, and that's where some of these tires, it's really weird. Some tires are like, oh, and they're gone. Others are super controlled, like this tire.
Kyle, what do you think of the tire so far?
Well, so far this tire has rocket shipped me through the sand wash, and here on the pavement it's doing a really good job. You can see that we're really chunking the front of these tires out. So with this tire we're getting all the way over to the edge, well, almost all the way over. I still have some nipples here on the side, but you can see that we're using this block a lot, and we're actually chewing off the tops of each of these leading edges. It's a much softer rubber compound than the previous tire from Mitas that we were on, but it feels really good. So up here at the front, you can see this tire is not getting a whole lot of wear. I mean, it's just rolling around on the road. You can see though that we're using every single bit of the rubber on this tire all the way over to the edges. I'm feeling it stick really nicely to the ground. I'm not feeling much wallow from it, and it hasn't yet felt like it wants to skip out. So in pushing this tire through this corner, I can feel the back end starting to drift just a little bit if I lay into the throttle quickly. But if if I just ease into it, this tire has lots of stick to it. Again, it's only a 40% road tire, so you kind of have to expect that that's going to happen. Now, I am super stoked at the stickiness of the tire and the fact that it feels really good, it's confidence inspiring, and it's very, very controlled. Alright, this is where we jump into the off-road section of our trip. We're on actual gravel roads. Now, these gravel roads can change from chute to chute. So today it's looking like it's more of a hard pack underneath with more of a marble type rock on top. This is where a lot of the more street-oriented tires really suffered because they really weren't able to get a good grip. So far, in just a little bit that we've been on this trail, these tires do feel pretty good. I can make them back in if I wanted to back in, but if I grab throttle, they're doing a great job at shooting me forward. Alright, the next section of this trail here is going to be the rockiest section of the entire trip. These rocks right here are really large, and some of the 80/20 tires and even the 50/50s were extremely rough when traveling through this section of the trail. Like the Heidenau K60 Scout was just bouncing all over the top here, versus some of the other tires were a little bit more compliant and they felt good. I can say that even though this is, oh, here we go, let's launch this thing, ready? Nice. I'm going to say that even though this is the Dakar version of the tire that has a more robust sidewall and tread configuration, it's feeling really good coming over the top of all of these rocks. Now we're coming directly into the sun on this little hill climb right here. Let's go ahead and hit it with some decent speed. This has been chewed up significantly since the last time we were up here. But this tire does not care, it's just going forward with full force. Oh yeah, take a look at that. Wasn't really expecting these two big holes right here. Somebody has absolutely chewed this up with their four-wheeled vehicle. Whoa! Come on, guy, come on, pick it up, pick it up. Second gear. I was able to power through first gear to the point where first gear wasn't high enough. I had to shift into second gear and the tire went ahead and proceeded to propel us forward. Alright, now I'm going to come down here, blocking the brakes off just to see how grippy or sticky. Look at this, front tire. I'm able to put full brake on and not have it wash out. That was a problem with some of the other tires that we had, was the fact that there wasn't enough knob, especially side knob, to keep it from washing out coming down this hill. So fully loaded, I definitely trust this tire to be able to walk me down just about anything. If you remember, as the ground got softer and softer, ooh, somebody got stuck right here. As the ground got softer and softer, this hill became sketchier and sketchier to go ahead and go down because the tire just wanted to wash out. This tire right here, take a look. Dude, we're getting awesome traction down this hill. I love it. Now this is one of my favorite sections of this whole ride, is coming down this little area right here. Look how beautiful these mountains are. And dirt roads all through them. The sad part is, you gotta have a license plate in order to ride on them. Now this tire is handling this section. Now that's where you don't want to go, down there in that hole. I almost took these tires off the motorcycle yesterday, but I'm glad that I didn't because it is right now raining outside. That's going to give us a chance to test these tires in wet weather. And I just pulled out of the garage over here to the fuel station to get some gasoline in the 1190. Now it is time to roll. Alright, traction control is now off. That's going to be the little TC button that you see down there. the bottom. You guys hear that? You can probably see it in the rear cam as well. That rear tire is just free wheelie back there. So for the flat freeway with California rain grooves without twisties, I'm going to say that these tires are actually doing very, very well for a full Navi tire. Impressive. So like I said, where the typical rain grooves are not affecting this tire at all, this larger gash, or seam I should say, between these two sections of cement, I definitely am getting some travel across that one. Alright, so here, the slight corner, whoa! Woo. Back end comes around a little bit. So my synopsis of the E-10 in wet weather is, if you're going to ride reasonably, then there's absolutely no problem with these tires. They perform quite well, actually. If you're going to be riding a little bit more aggressive, maybe you should choose a different tire for riding in the rain. But if this isn't a good test for the Gore-Tex on both the boots and this Hardinger chute, I don't know what is. I am getting blasted by the wake of that front tire. I have no idea what it looks like in the rear either. Across the creek right here. Surprised at how much softer it is in the creek areas than it is up on top. I would have thought it would have been the opposite. Last time I was down here on these E10s, this ground was really soft and that hill was pretty soft too. I'm going to show you the difference of what that looks like when it's dry versus when it's wet. Turn, buddy, turn. Second gear. So much traction. Yeah. Nice little wheel loft over that little rise right there. Jump. So much traction. No backing in at all. Just total rip forward. I love it. Slide the stuff. Right now we're just cruising along in third gear. Tires are giving us all the traction that we need right here. It's great. Ooh. So this is where the mud turns from sandy to kind of sloppy, as you can see by these tire tracks right here from these cars. So right here we have a clay base instead of a sand base. You can see the darker color of the earth instead of the more sandy color that we saw earlier. So take a look at the puddles down there. Those puddles are where the standing water is, which is the only mud that I know of in the local area. It's more like a clay type mud, just the top of this mountain right here. So we're going to go down and play in that here in just a second. Right now we're demonstrating the downhill traction on this hillside. Yeah, felt good. Okay, ready? take a quick look. Look at that. Got perfect penetration into the mud. You can see the spots that are a little bit more soft and squishy than others. And right now, I'm doing the hill climb. Good. So I do want to take 1 second to say that when I had the Dunlop Trail Max Mission tire up here in the same conditions, that tire did get packed with mud and it did spin and it did fill completely. Look at that roost, just tearing it up. Oh. Anyway, what I was saying is the Dunlop Trail Max Mission tire is one of my favorite 50/50 tires. It just does a phenomenal job everywhere. Where this tire here performs or is less performing on the street than that Dunlop Trail Max Mission tire, that hill climb, I got packed up with dirt and mud in there. Where these tires do, there was no pack up. There was zero loss of traction. He just went in and went. I don't think I've ever been down this section of the road after a big rain like that. Curious to see if these rocks are going to be stickier or if they're going to slide out easier because the ground underneath them is wet. Oh! Who saved it? And that, my friends, is the beauty of adventure motorcycling. You're being able to go to the top of the mountain, go through mud, go through rivers, go through standing water. And then we're back on the pavement, cruising like a traditional street motorcycle. The versatility, I just love it. It's amazing. Well, that there was a lot of fun. These Mitas E-10 Dakar tires are fantastic 50/50 or 60/40 tires. They're a full knob tire, and that pretty much classifies it as a 50/50 tire in the segment, but Mitas has gone even further than that, saying that these are even more off-road capable than a traditional 50/50 tire. I'm gonna say that after riding on these tires for about 130 miles today, that I really like the performance that they give me on the street, and the off-road performance, being able to shoot me straight ahead, has been phenomenal. Looking at the front tire after putting some miles on it today, ooh. It's pretty warm. It must have liked that high-speed freeway action coming back here to the shop. Anyway, you can see here on the corners, we've gone ahead and worn away these edges. So when we're in these corners, this tire is actually holding really, really hard to the road surface. It's doing a great job, but we are getting some worn edges here on the lean edges of the tire. If you take a look here at the center lugs, there's absolutely no wear on these tires here. Even with the hard braking off-road, we've completely left the center of this tire intact. So moving around to the back tire here, what are we finding? Well, we're finding a lot of very, very worn leading edges. This tire did phenomenal at hooking up. The tread compound on this tire is very soft. It sticks really well to the asphalt, but as you can see, we are melting this tire away. Another factor of this tire is it's a lot flatter than a lot of the other tires that we've been running in this segment. Now, we weren't able to get all the way over to the edge here at the end of the day, but you can see that we're leaning over quite a bit. Now we're getting all of these side lugs pretty worn and shaved down there on the sides. This tire did a great job at sticking to the ground. It did back in a little bit if I was to put a lot of throttle down at one time. If I was nice and easy and smooth through the throttle, this tire did a great job at finding traction and sticking to it. Well, that about sums up the testing of this Mitas E-10 Dakar tire. If you've got any questions, leave a comment below. If you like what you saw today, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want more action like this coming directly to your inbox, please hit the subscribe button and, more importantly, the notification bell. Until next time, and as always, take care and ride safe out there.